All right, all right, all right. Here we are. How are you guys? SMEs Mobile Strategies 2014. Marco Montemagno here, founder of Super Summit, here with you. And today we have another great session with another great speaker talking about another great topic, which is related with video and app. So how can you develop a great video for your app? And straight from Montpellier, we have here Sylvain. Sylvain, how are you, first of all?
Hi, Marco. I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Sylvain, very good. So Sylvain Gauchet, co-founder of Apptamin. Apptamin is this company building videos basically for your app, but I'll let you talk about it in a second. And here connected with me also Krista McLandres from Apps Builder. By the way, this event is powered by Apps Builder, so you guys, you're doing a great job. Hi Krista, how are you doing?
Hi Marco, we're doing great.
Fantastic. All right, so basically the idea is to see if Sylvain will survive to our double trouble attack with all the questions that from me and Krista will try to direct in your direction. And obviously a big hi to all the people following us in chat, where you can, guys, you can ask questions, you can share with us your knowledge, tips and ideas, and we'll be super happy to talk about this during this hour. But Sylvain, let's go back to you and help me to introduce properly Apptamin in 30 seconds. I just saw that you did something like 300 videos, a lot of great clients, a lot of stuff that you're doing, but I'll let you explain this part.
Okay, well, basically we are a video production company, and we've specialized in producing promotional videos for apps and game trailers. So what we do are those short videos, somewhere between 15 seconds to 60 seconds, that present apps. And the idea behind that is that it's going to be one of the quickest way to assess an app, and a great tool to promote it.
All right.
And we've been doing this for a bit more than 2 years now, and we have clients that range from indie developers to startups to much bigger companies, and they basically come to us with their apps or the game. We try it, we see with them what's the best way to present them in video, and then we produce videos for them.
Cool. Can I ask you a question straight away? And I know that it's really, forgive me. I live in UK, but I'm Italian, and we Italians, we are very, very curious about money immediately. When someone asks or talk about something, we always say, okay, but how much money? How does it cost? And I was immediately spying on your website the pricing, and I saw a lot of companies, they don't really publish the pricing of this kind of production because maybe it's expensive. And I had to do a video a couple of years ago. It was like a trailer for one of my companies, and I remember we spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, and it was like a 30 seconds videos. And then I've been checking your pricing, and I thought, wow, these guys, they work a very honest pricing. That was my feedback. So it's interesting. I mean, you have a very aggressive pricing or very fair pricing. I don't know how to define it. Is it right? I mean, is this a common feedback that you get?
Yes, I mean, video can get expensive quite fast, and 30 seconds you can have a very complex project with 30 seconds, or something simple in 30 seconds. You're going to pay two very different prices. And we do have we're honest about our prices. We try to be transparent about them. We've been doing a lot of those videos presenting apps, and so we have the starting prices for the kind of the smaller budgets, where you will have something that presents your app and get the major point across. But like every video production company, if you're to ask us specific things, if we're doing like a live video with actors in several different environments, obviously the price increases. And if we have to do a lot of graphic design and animation, it's going to be the same thing. So we try to be affordable, and to startups, indie developers, we always do our best within the time we have to do a video. But for more complex videos, there might be a need to put a little extra to that. But we always try to be transparent about what are the costs and what is expensive and what you can cut if you have a lower budget.
Got it. $1,000 start from €1,000, something like that, and
That's
obviously it depends how much. Also, I guess how much back and forth it goes if you have a awful client that every 2 seconds.
We do have some of those. It happens. The French ones are not good.
All right, very good. So, Sylvain, let's start ahead while you set up your presentation, which is the most difficult part in all Hangout on air. I was curious to know from you, Krista. I mean, also Appsbuilder is using videos, for yourself, for webinars and this kind of thing. So, what would be interesting, maybe in one of the next sessions, also to have data from Appsbuilder about the use of videos in apps. So that would be something interesting to remember. What do you think?
Definitely, definitely. I mean, we use videos, of course, to promote, Appsbuilder and how, businesses can get started. But it's definitely very interesting to use video to then promote your app once it is, launched. And it's one of the keys that we also, stress when we're saying, some of the top tips to starting to promote your app. Once it's launched, you want to feed it out into social media, you want to put it into app stores, and one of the best ways to get people excited about things is obviously a video.
Sure. And I've been proposing to you guys, Sylvain, Appsbuilder, Apptamin, a partnership. And I think that for the name, you both start with app, so it would be also easier to find a brand. But I stop my stupid things here, and I'm just curious, and we are curious to learn from you today, Sylvain, about this topic. So I see your slides, and I'll let you go.
Okay, perfect. Well, the idea today is to talk a bit, about video and how it can be used for app marketing, and also give you some tips about how to create it, or how to the good tips to plan it. And we're going to talk also a bit more at the end about the new app preview format, the video on the iOS 8 App Store, and I'm going to share with you, the format and some of the things we've been trying here at Apptamin.
Right.
So basically, I mean, there's no secret or secret recipe for video. Is not going to be enough by itself. Like you can have, if you have an app and you just do the best video possible and you do nothing else beyond that, it's probably not going to work. You need a great app. You need to combine several marketing efforts, and video is part of that app marketing strategy. And why we like video is that to us it's the best thing next to trying the app. So because it's going to allow you in 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds to get a very good idea of the app or the game, and to assess it and know if you're interested or not. And let's say you're pitching someone, it's going to be a great way to get them interested in what you have to offer. And basically, what's great about it is that you're going to be able to show the features and the benefits and go beyond, a still image. When you're just seeing a screenshot, or when you're just saying a text, it's kind of hard to picture how the experience is going to feel and how the product actually is. How it all flows together. And that's what's great about video, is that you can show all that, show the key parts of your app, what's magic about it, and promote it that way. That's a quote from a blogger, Erika Sadoun. She also has a great book that's called Pitch Perfect, and what she says is that video is the quickest way to initially assess your app, and it lets bloggers know that if it's worth downloading and testing further. So it's kind of that first test, and instead of reading a press release, and you can have a press release, that's not a debate, but instead of reading a long text, you can have that little video and just show a few seconds and know if you're interested or not. And that's kind of the foot in the door that can push people to download and try your app and hopefully become, engaged users. I'm going to say a few words about where to use video for your app promotion, and I don't want to spend too much time on this slide where I'm going to more mention them. We do have more on this on our blog if you want to have some tips for each of the categories. And basically, there's many ways to use video for your app marketing, and it's the idea behind all of this is always that video, is going to be a great way to present your app, get your point across, and show what's unique about it. And I was talking about, reaching out to bloggers and journalists, so that's the peer outreach part. Another thing that works great, another great use of video is to put it on your website, and you don't need to have your app, already ready. For example, Mailbox, they had a great video, and I encourage you to check it out. And they put the video on their website before the app was released. They had a sign-up form where you could request an invite, and that, because they had the video, even though there was no product, people will see it, get excited about it, and request invites. And that's a way to pre-sell your products. And once the video, once the app launches, you can of course keep the video and just add the call to action for people to download the app.
Excuse me, Sylvain. One question that I'm curious about, to do a little step back, but to give a better context to all the people watching this video, is for how long time now to have a video that presents your app is, let's say, mandatory on the App Store? Because I remember in the beginning, not so many apps, they have videos. Usually they just had this screenshot, some images, and you just slide among the images. And then companies started to come out with videos. Is like that, or since day one, immediately video was the big thing?
Well, I think that the early adopters having a video, one of the first to have videos, that definitely had an advantage because it was kind of unique. Now there's nothing mandatory, per se. You can have your app, an Android app, on the Google Play Store without a video. Now, what you're going to run into probably, if you have a great app, if you're in talk with people at Google, at one point they're going to tell you, okay, your app is great, we'd like to feature it, but you might be missing this and this. It might be you might be missing a Google Plus login, and you might be missing a video on your Google Play Store page. And we've had clients come to us with that kind of problematic. But video is not mandatory, but it's going to help you, get more engaged users. And sometimes some of the stores, the Google Play Store at least, they like when you have a video. So there's nothing mandatory, but I would say that for a year and a half probably, more and more companies are creating systematically a video when they're launching an app.
Interesting. So not mandatory, but strongly recommended, let's say.
Exactly, and it's I'm not trying to convince everybody that video is awesome, even though it is, but it can depend on the app. I mean, you have to find what works great for your app. And if for paid apps, for example, having a video is going to be a great way to introduce people, because people are reluctant to actually spend money on apps. But if you can show them how great your app is, the added value it has, then they might be more willing to spend the money, because they're not going in the dark, and they know what to expect.
I can say, Sylvain, and then I'll let you keep going, but most of the time people think, okay, but video is so important, yes or not, what's the real benefit of it? I can say, having 4 kids and one is 5 years old, he will never install a game if there's no video. So if there's no video preview of a trailer of the app, of the game, will never install it. If you only see static images, that's very bad. It's like super minus, no way. So I believe also the generation, let's say Epsilon or whatever, are the Z or whatever, they are absolutely video obsessed, and it will be more and more like that. That's my personal opinion. Yeah.
Well, that's another thing. Is video is becoming more and more common, and we're getting used to it, and not just having screenshots or text. So it's I think there's a demand there from users to know more and be able to get a preview of the apps before they actually try them.
Got it.
So the plenty of other ways to use video. YouTube, obviously, which can help you with SEO on Google as well, since it's owned by Google. Another thing we've seen growing significantly lately are Facebook video ads. It's short 15-second videos that users are going to find in their feed. And while it might seem annoying to some users, they actually have a good conversion rate. And what's so great about them is that you have a thumbnail for the video, you open it, you watch, you tap play, you play the video, and right below you have a button just to install the app directly. So since you can do very detailed targeting with Facebook, you can target people that like such and such things, specific demographics. Well, being able to reach them in their feed with video can definitely help you increase your app downloads. And in terms of ads, another thing that we've been seeing more and more are mobile video ads. So usually they play you in an app, and you're going to have an ad for a mobile app, and after you're going to watch the video, and after the video you have the choice to download or not the app. And we talked about it on Android, on the Google Play Store. You can have video, and it's been like that for, I think, a couple of years, probably more than 2 years, and that's great. You can actually localize it, so you can have your video in different languages, so that you reach, so that your audience can get a video in their own language. And Google Play recommends to have a video on your page. It's one of the most visible assets on your app details page. And what's starting probably in fall and was announced in June at the WWDC is video on the App Store. And we're going to talk more about that at the end of the presentation. But basically they're called app previews, and I think we're going to see more and more of them by the end of the year. So I talked about those, Facebook video ads, 15 seconds. It's not an easy format because, for example, most of our clients that come to us, they have a lot of things to show about their app, and it's kind of hard to boil it down to 15 seconds. So you have to really focus on what makes your app special, so that you can tell your story in 15 seconds without forgetting, at the end, some things that let them know where they can download it, and push them to action. I'm going to talk about a few tips to create your video. So it's going to be true whether you're creating it yourself or whether you're hiring someone. You want to keep those things in mind, all the way through the process.
Sylvain, 15 seconds, you say 15 seconds because it's the max length allowed, or just the best length for a video on the App Store?
So right now it's not for video on the App Store, it's actually for video on Facebook video ads. Okay. And the Facebook video ads have to be max 15 seconds. And for example, mobile video ads, that are promoted by companies like Chartboost, where let's say you're playing Angry Bird and you die, and they tell you, okay, well, you can get a new life by watching a small video. So, and then you watch a video, you get your new life, and you can keep playing. So those videos are usually also fairly short. They're 15, 20 seconds. So my point was, sometimes with some formats, Facebook or mobile video ads, you're going to have only, this short amount of time, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, to show what's really unique about it. So you have to really boil it down.
Got it.
On the Google Play Store, you actually have, you actually have no limit of length. we do advise to stay, and I'm going to talk about that a bit more, to stay within a minute or something like that.
Okay, very good. And tell us again the name of the company that you said for video advertising.
They're called Chartboost.
Charboost. All right.
So Chartboost is specialized in video game, in games. So the videos they're going to show are usually games, but you have other companies like Bungle or like Ad Colony that do have ads for let's call them casual apps.
Okay.
Non-game apps.
Fantastic.
So on to these few tips about how to create a video. So the first one, which might seem obvious, but yet we don't see it always, is to write a script. You don't want to take your phone, take your camera, or take your phone and start doing your captures right away. You want to plan it, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy. It can be just a few bullet points at first, just to see what you're going to say, what's your main message. Let's say you have a voiceover, what the voiceover is going to say. So you can start with a few bullet points, and this should give you a good idea of how it's going to look like, and ask feedback about that. Get your team on it, ask them what they think about it, and make sure that you're saying what you actually want to say, and that what's unique about your app is going to be understood by people watching the video. Once you have your those few bullet points, you can of course expand on that. If you have someone that can do a storyboard, well, they can do a storyboard. You want to if you're showing actual screens of your app, you want to make sure that you're going to have data inside it. Let's say you have an app like to book hotels. Well, then you want to make sure that you show actual hotels listing, and that the actual hotel listing you're going to show, you are allowed to show them, etc. You want to plan everything you're going to show within the app before starting the actual video production. When you're writing your script, what you have to keep in mind your audience. So you usually know it pretty well. You know who you're targeting, because you might have a website already, and you're creating an app that give some of the features. So you want to make sure who you're talking to, and you want to to know your goal. Are you creating a video because some users have trouble using your app, and that's something you're going to put inside the app, or are you creating more of an overview to get people excited about the app? Or you're creating a small 15-second ad? You always have to know what's your goal, where the video is going to be, so that you can write your script around that.
So far is like if I have to prepare a presentation, or is the process is similar. Write your script, find exactly who is your audience, and try to go with that. Yes,
that's quite true. And we're going to see another point. Although sometimes I put a lot of things in my presentation, so don't take me as an example, but we're going to see another point later on, is to try and say too many things. And in video, like in PowerPoint presentations, people can not get it or get confused if you're trying to say too many things. One of the to keep things kind of structured, if you don't know where you're going and what you want to say in your video, and what kind of structure you should have, well, here's what you can use. And I'm not going to talk about the games, but for a casual app, a safe way to go, a safe structure to take, is to show your app icon, a tagline that basically tells what the app does. That way, straight from the beginning, people have an understanding of what they're going to see, and you also kind of put your branding forward, and they know how your icon is going to look. And then give an overview, short overview of your core features. And if your app only does one thing and does it very well, then just show only that thing. You don't want to get started and show 10, 15 features of your app. You have to keep it focused. And at the end of the video, you want a call to action. You want to let people know where the app is going to be available on the Google Play Store, on the App Store, on the Amazon App Store. Maybe give a website link so that people can go and get more information, etc.
Excellent.
So I talked about it a bit earlier. You want to keep things short and focused, and you want that's why you want to actually plan it, is so that you realize that you have limited time and you need to sacrifice some things. You don't want to show your settings, even if they were made with love. You spend time on it. People don't care about showing the settings of your app, so you have to keep focused on what's unique about your app and what's magic and the added value of it, or why it's different from other apps. There's so many apps that you definitely want to focus on why it's different. If you have a beautiful UI, you want to show it, but you maybe don't want to show every little effect that you put. Another thing to keep in mind are the deadlines. Surprisingly, the deadlines, the app marketing guidelines, for Apple are more complex than Google's. Apple likes to control a bit some of the things, so they define all those rules of what you can and cannot do when creating actually any visual asset, and that includes video. And they're not all strictly enforced yet, at least. So you want to read them and keep them in mind when you're creating your video. If you don't have to respect every rule, but if you're not respecting one, you might as well know that the rule is there and take an informed decision about not enforcing it because you think it's stupid, because you think it doesn't matter, etc. And the safest way, of course, is to respect all the rules that Apple gives you.
Sylvain, can I just interrupt you for a moment? I just have a question here from our public chat. Miguel here is asking, we've talked a little bit about the video length. Would you have any recommendations about formats? So I guess this sort of plays into guidelines, maybe. So about ratio and file formats of video. I mean, what's sort of the best route to go?
Okay, so what we at Apptamin so far, we produce two formats. They are both, it's MP4 files, and the codec is H.264, and the resolution for them are 720p, which is 1280 by 720 pixels, and 1080p, which is full HD, 1920 by 1080 pixels. So it's those MP4 files, 720 and 1080p. That's what we use, and that's what you can. It's a safe bet because that's what you can upload on video platforms. Like YouTube, obviously, Vimeo, Wistia, Dailymotion, you name it. They're all going to accept this format. Now you have new formats emerging. And YouTube has the 4K now, so that's really higher resolution. We actually started producing some videos in that format, but it might not be necessary just yet, and people might just not have the internet connection just yet to be able to read those videos. So the safe bet is HD ready, 720p, and full HD 1080p.
So I'm an ignorant. You see how I don't know anything in Sylvain, really. I feel so ignorant. But MOV or MP4 is not the most common format anymore for this kind of videos?
Yes, they are. We actually produce MP4 files.
Okay.
And I mean, you could produce a MOV or AV file, and it can work. Actually, the MOV, I'm not sure where you can upload it and where you will be limited, and that's why we recommend the MP4. It's right now kind of a new universal. It might change, but so far it's a good bet. Okay.
And codec H.264, something like that?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
You can have the codec is kind of irrelevant to the file extension. It's you can have several an AV that has the same codec than an MP4 file.
Very good.
Okay, Krista, did I answer your question?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Some of the mistakes to avoid. The first one, which it's a poor quality production. What I mean by that, obviously, you don't want to have a video that doesn't look good. So you either need to have the skills internally or learn them, or hire someone that can do a video for you. Yet you don't want to have a video that looks, too much like an ad and that is overly promotional, using tons of buzzwords, the greatest, the easiest, the best. You want maybe to keep it light and rather try to show what's great about your app, without doing too much, and try to connect with the need of the viewer. And in link to what I was saying earlier about keeping it short and focused, is trying to say too many things. That's something you don't want to do. I talked about the settings. It's going to be the same thing about the benefits of the app. You don't want to say too much about the app, or people will get confused. And you want to keep things focused. And you don't want to forget the call to action at the end of your video. It would be too bad to have a great video that kind of get the user excited, they want to check it out, but then they have to jump through hoops to find it. Let's say you don't give the name of the app, then they try to find it on the app store, they cannot find it, or you don't give the website, you don't say where it's available, so that they don't know if they're actually targeted or if they can have it. So make sure you let them know where to download your app, or where to sign up to be notified when your app is going to be ready. I'm going to talk a bit about the app previews that we're going to see on the App Store. So that's something that Apple announced back in June, and it's a pretty specific format, and we're excited to see video coming to the App Store. So I'm going to talk about it now. That's a slide from the WWDC, and that's actually how app previews are going to look to App Store users. So when you let's say search for an app, you open the app details page, you're going to see that. In that case, it's for Monument Valley, it's a game, and as you can see, you have a little play button on the first thumbnail, and that's the app preview. That's a video on the App Store. And it's definitely one of the most visible assets on the page with the icon. So it's something not to neglect. You don't, it's not mandatory, but if you do have a video, you want to make sure that you put forward a great screenshot and a great thumbnail for it. For developers and companies, they're going to submit their app preview just like they do their screenshots when they do an app update. So it's going to be reviewed by the staff at Apple, and they might ask you to change a few things, etc., and they will approve it. And once it's approved, it's going to be like this on your app details page. So the guidelines and for the app previews and the format is quite specific, and those videos have to be up to 30 seconds. So you might want to take advantage of the full 30 seconds, or do something somewhere between 20 and 30 seconds. That's up to you. The app previews are device specific. So if you have an iOS app that is available on both the iPhone and the iPad, then you're going to need 2 app previews, one for each. They are composed, and the reason for that is that they are composed mainly of device captured footage, so video screen captures of your app, and that means that's why the resolutions are going to be the ones you see here, which are basically the resolution, currently at least the resolution of the latest iPhone, the iPhone 5, 5S, and for the iPad it's going to be 900 by 1200. Because the full resolution will just be too big. So that's the resolution and the main format for the app previews. And so far, from what what has been announced in the sessions about app previews, and I definitely encourage anyone here, listening and watching, to go and check out the WWDC session on how to create app previews, because I'm going to talk a bit about it, but you'll get even more insights by watching that session. And so far, what has been said is that the app previews are going to be in one language only. So let's say you have your app preview in English, then and your app is available on the Japanese App Store, then Japanese users will see your app preview in English. So it's quite a limitation, and you have to keep it in mind when you're creating it, not doing something too complicated probably, so that international users can also understand what's happening. You can have, even if it's mainly based on captures and screen footage, you can have a voiceover and you can add some text, including some text interstitials, etc. But the important thing, and Apple stressed that a lot, is it shouldn't look too much like an ad. It shouldn't look like an ad. You don't want to have plenty of stickers coming and something that's too fast, etc. So keep that in mind. It's more about showing the UI and the actual app being used than advertising your app.
Sylvain, one question about that. I'm an Android user, I confess, okay? And the thing here is I don't see any difference between this new app previews video and the way Android is handling that, basically. So, or I'm missing something here. I mean, in Android, if I get an app, I have the image, and the first image after the logo, let's say, is basically a playable video. Is it something that was not there in iOS, or is something additional that I don't get?
Well, exactly, it wasn't in iOS, and it might surprise you that the App Store is only now going to accept and put videos for apps. The main difference here is those guidelines and the format. Let's say on Google Play, for example, let's say you're shooting a video with live actors because one of the important things about your app is that it is used in a specific context, specific use. So you're going to, let's say, shoot a live video with actors, etc., showing your app, and it can be on the Google Play Store. It can be, you can do that, and it can be any length. You're pretty much free to do anything you want. Actually, I mean, so far, and on the App Store, you won't be able to do that. Even if your app is meant to be used in a specific context, then you have to show something that's going to be that iPhone resolution, and basically it's going to be more like a moving screenshot. If you get my point, it's going to be a screen capture, a video screen capture of your app, and then on top of that screen capture, you can put a few things, but it's quite limited.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
for example, okay. If you look at that next slide, that's the format of app previews. You cannot put it, you cannot show a device, you cannot show people using it. It has to be just the app.
Okay.
And it has some good sides, is that people won't put a 4 or 5 minute review filmed in a dark room on the app details page. But it also has some limitations. I'm going to talk a bit more about that on the next slide. And apparently, it's not working well to show videos here. We have them on our website if you want to go check them out. What we did once we heard about that new format is we contacted one of our clients, Retail Mina, and we created the first app preview for one of their apps. And we created the app preview. We sent it to a contact at Apple to get the feedback, and we're trying to understand what was allowed and what was not allowed, what was okay, what was not. And what we learned is that you can have some text interstitial. So basically, let's say you're showing a feature, and the feature is not that easy to understand. Well, you can have a text before showing that feature that that kind of explains the main point of what you're going to show. In the same way, you can have a voiceover that's going to explain, what you're working what you're showing on the screen, because you're going to be interacting with the app, going to menus, some features, and people might not get it. It might just move by itself, and people might not get your point. So the voiceover can help with transmitting and getting your point across.
How long it takes to get approval from Apple for this kind of format?
You mean well, basically they have, and the email is listed at the end of the session they did. They got back to us pretty fast. It was a few days. Now we sent a new version, and we got feedback a bit later on it, but still got the feedback. Once they allow developers and companies to submit their app previews and the videos, it's going to be something that's done within the submission process. So right now it depends. Sometimes it's 7 days to approve the update of the app. Sometimes it's more than that, and it might add a little extra time at the beginning, because I'm assuming if they have to review all those videos, it might take some time, and they have to make adjustments. But then it should be pretty similar. It won't change much for developers compared to the current submission process. They won't have to send an email to someone. That's what I mean.
Okay. And it's still anyway, Android Word is much faster than iOS.
Well, yeah, because it'd be on Android, and last I checked, at least you could just update your app and that's it. It's updated. You don't have to go through that whole submission process. Now, sometimes they review the apps and kind of take some out, but it's less of a proactive process than a reactive process.
Okay.
So the last point on our experiments around app previews that you want to keep in mind if you're creating one for your app is you don't need to show your logo and your icon at the beginning and at the end. The reason for that is users are going to see your app preview on the App Store, and they're going to see your icon there. They're going to see your app name, and you don't need to put it twice in your video. You can, if you want, put it at the end. That's what Apple did. The examples they showed mostly had a logo and icon at the end, so you can do that, but you don't need to show it at the beginning. What we don't know yet, and we're soon going to find out when our clients start uploading the app previews we're producing for them, or we get feedback from the community on what's allowed, what's not, or just by looking at the app preview that you can find on the App Store once it's available, is how much flexibility is going to be allowed by Apple. Apple has some pretty strict marketing guidelines, like I said earlier, and that's true for screenshots. For the screenshots you can see on an app details page. Yet a lot of developers and companies don't respect some of the rules on screenshots, and that tells me that maybe Apple will give some flexibility to the video format, but maybe not. You never know. So some of the things that could add value with this format is, for example, to be able to highlight a part of the screen so that the eye focuses on that specific part, and people watching the app preview, the video, are going to know what to look at. Another thing will be to use a little circle that's going to show where the tabs are, because if you're just looking at a screen and it changes to another screen, you might not know where the tab was, what happened, or what's happening. And maybe doing some slide zooms if it doesn't lose too much quality could be useful as well. Same thing to focus the eye on a specific part of the screen and get people's attention. So I mean, we're really excited to see video coming on the App Store. Hopefully, it's going to help users understand better the apps they're about to download. Hopefully, it's going to kind of educate them also, because they're going to be able to have that preview of what the app does, and hopefully it helps downloads and getting engaged users for developers and companies. There are some limitations. For example, Marco, we were talking about the differences of the videos you can have on the Google Play Store and the ones you can have on the App Store. Well, for example, if you have an app that is supposed to have interactions with other device, let's say it's a smart TV. Recently, we did a video for an app that's called ArtKick, and the idea that you can put art on your TV using your phone as a remote. And if you cannot show the TV and you cannot show the interaction between, you swiping on the iPhone and the art picture showing on your TV, then if you cannot show that, it's going to be harder to help people understand, what the app is. And there are other types of apps where you want to be able to synchronize your iPhone with your iPad, or your iPhone with your Mac, etc. Pretty much any device, any connected object, in the future, those might be limitations. The fact that you're going to show something that is based, mostly on screen captures. Something else that might be problematic is for apps that use, specific gestures where you have to interact with the app or with the phone, in a specific manner. There's some games where you have to do, some kind of gestures to play, etc. And that's going to be hard to showcase by showing only the captures from the device. And same thing, if your app uses, let's say, the accelerometer, or anything that has to do with the environment, then it's going to be a challenge to explain it. And it's going to be interesting to see the workarounds that developers and companies find to do that. So that's going to be pretty exciting. The last limitation, and it's not so much a limitation than one of the specificities, is the video you can have on your Google Play Store. It can be pretty much the same on your app website. It can be the same that you send to bloggers, journalists, etc. But because the app preview format is so specific, and is really only for iOS, and you're not supposed to have badges at the end, call to actions that say where the app is available. Because it's so specific to iOS, you might not be able to really use it anywhere else. It's more going to be something like a super screenshot, and it's awesome to be able to give that preview of the app. But it's probably, we'll see how it goes, but probably is going to be quite limited to the App Store in terms of use.
So still in a experimenting phase, let's say, and we'll see what happens, basically.
Yes, exactly. I mean, it's going to be fun to see all those videos coming out, and we're sure going to be looking at a lot of them, and we're starting doing some. We believe it works very great for games, because you can show gameplay, you can even tell a little story about your characters, etc. But for some more casual apps, sometimes it might be a bit of a challenge to really put forward what's important without making it boring.
Got it.
Well, that's it for me. For the presentation, I'm of course happy to answer any question. We have a blog on app marketing, and feel free to go and check it out. We talk about app previews, we talk about video, but we also talk a lot about other things on how to promote your apps. And we have lots of content coming up over the next few months. So don't hesitate to take a look at it.
So Sylvain, thank you so much. We have just 10 minutes left, and I have just one question, but then I let Krista, if also Krista has got questions, or people in chat, absolutely feel free to join the conversation. What's the average length, let's say? So how long time it takes to have a good quality video for your app in a, let's say, an average project? Obviously, everything depends from time to time and from budget and so many variables. But in average, if a company come to you and say, okay, I would like to have a video for my fantastic new app, I spend my €1,000 or €2,000, whatever, how long time it takes to get my video ready?
So like you said, it's going to depend on to get your video ready, or the length of the actual video.
Yeah, to have your video ready. So I just come to you, to Apptamin, and say, I need this kind of video. This is my app. Those are maybe some screenshots. These are the values that I want to communicate and promote. Make a video for me. And you have to go back to them, and how long it takes, this process.
So excluding live videos with actors where we have to shoot, in a bunch of different places, all in all, it's going to probably take between 3 to 4 weeks. And because there's the planning part where we're going to define the synopsis, define the script, and really plan everything. And there's the actual delivery part. And we do the actual delivery parts in either 7 business days or 10 business days. And what's before kind of depends on if we can get feedback quickly, etc. But most of the time, because usually our clients come to us and they want the video quickly, so we get feedback fast. Most of the time, we stay between that 3 to 4 weeks window.
All right. Okay. So it's like I'm thinking about video production, traditional video production, and in the end, I mean, it is a process that around 3 weeks, something like that, and then you can get the video done if you are quick and reactive. Krista, do you have some questions also from the chat or something?
Yeah, I actually have a question. I mean, we touched a little bit about the kind of phases that you want to start thinking about when you're going to start developing your video. And you talked a little bit about the script. I mean, leaving aside, the unflexible sort of videos that we're making with the Apple Store, if we're doing stuff with, live actors, what kind of tips would you suggest, someone who's starting to develop the script? What things does, a user really want to see in the preview app, I guess, when it comes to, the usability of the app and what the benefits are to getting it? What have you seen that works best?
Okay, so I think that one way to plan that and to know how to go about it will be to watch a lot of them. There's some great examples. I'm thinking about the mailbox video that really worked well and is nice because the idea was to show the actual user experience and all those little things that made the app different from a regular email client. The Snapchat video lately is pretty good as well. So I would say try and watch videos first of all from your competitors to see how they do it and what you like, what you don't like. Try to find the style of what you want to do, and then depending on your budget, you might have to kind of bring your expectations down. If you can afford it and you have a crazy idea, with a lot of people or in a specific environment, it's great. But maybe there's a better way to showcase your app. But really, I think the main idea, once you're using, live actors, is to show your app in the context it will be used by user. It doesn't have to be, all the context, but pick one or pick two and go with it. And you might as well pick one that's not going to end up being too complicated to do.
I'm using Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie for a new video.
Exactly.
I'm joking. It could take some time, and I don't think it's so cheap. So I don't recommend. But if someone want to do it, please go ahead with Angelina and Brad. Do we have Krista?
Oh, good.
Do we have Krista also from chat? Maybe someone asking a question for Sylvain.
Yeah, actually, I think we've got a question here from Julia. Okay, so she's asking, if you've got an app, would you suggest the video is always, something to do if you've got a pay for app or a free app? Is it always great to have video, or would you say you could take it or leave it, I guess?
Well, I think that it's especially great for paid apps.
Okay.
Because it's going to, give that preview and get people excited about it. That said, I also think there's many advantages to having a video, even if you have a free app. Just for the exposure it can give you, or the fact that you can, pitch it, use it pretty much everywhere. Once you have your video, the important thing is, to use it. It can be a link in your email signature. It can be, sending it to people, having it on your booth at an exhibition. The idea that you're going to have to use it, and because it's a powerful tool to show what your app is. So it will depend on the app. It's especially great for paid apps, but I think there's many advantages also for really any app.
Sylvain, what's the best video for an app that you have seen in the last couple of years?
That's hard.
You can't say videos done from Apptamin, and you can't say the mailbox video, which was obviously great.
That's a hard one, Marco, because then I'm going to be judged on that selection. Well, I'm going to. There's two that I like. The first one, it's a great video, but I see it also in terms of production quality, and it's the video that was made for the paper app from Facebook, and you definitely it's a big budget. You can see it, but the way they did it with those close shots, etc., it kind of, it's almost emotional, and they show those little effects of the app, the UI, and you want to give it a try. At least it worked for me. I downloaded the app, and I took a look at it. So that video from Facebook, I think works well.
And which one is the worst? No, I'm joking. This is too bad.
So, I mean, the worst for me will be. I'm not going to give a name, not going to hate on anyone, but the worst, it's more of the idea of having a long review, filmed by lightning, and that's just going to scare people off after 10 seconds because you realize that you don't have the time to watch 4 minutes of video, and you don't have to, you want to see something that's kind of focused.
So you would say that between having awful, horrible video and no video is better no video. I mean, if you're really not good with videos, or you do it good, or probably it's better to have a good image and you wait until you have a little bit of budget and team to do the video job.
Yes, if you for the Google Play Store example. It's such a a visible set that if you put something crappy there, it's going to it's going to hurt you. So it's better to have a great screenshot and and let people just make their mind about it. But if you can have an engaging video, then have the video. Same thing with the screenshots. Actually, if you put awful screenshots, well don't put them. Just put one that's good. That will be the idea.
Got it. Krista, we have 2 minutes and maybe time for a last question.
Let's get a last question in here. So Miguel is asking, what happens if my video doesn't match the device screen ratio?
Well, it's going to depend on where the video is supposed to be used. Usually, what happens, whenever you're watching a video on something that has a resolution different of the video is black border. So it's either going to be black borders on the side, black borders on the top. Now, if you're talking about the app previews and video on the App Store, what's going to happen if your video doesn't match the criteria is they're going to tell you that's not good, that's not the resolutions we asked for. Just redo it, or crop it, or I don't know, do something about it.
And if Steve Jobs was still alive, Steve Jobs probably would write you and say, how is it possible you did this video, Do it good. Do it with the right ratio. All right, very good. We are at the end. It was a pleasure to talk with you, Sylvain, really. Sylvain Gauchet, co-founder of Apptamin, apptamin.com, guys. Go have a look. It's a great company that can really support you for your video production stuff. What's next for you, Sylvain? What's next plan for the future? Anything specific?
Well, I don't know. That's what exciting about having a business is right now we have a lot of requests for videos. We keep trying. We keep doing better and better videos. We have a new studio, so we can do some affordable videos, but still keep that live actor feeling, which is really great. And the idea is to build. The team is growing, so the idea is to keep building that team, have as much talented people as we can to keep producing great videos, and of course to keep doing videos for our clients, whether they're in the US or in France or really anywhere in the world.
Good. Very good. All right, Sylvain, good luck for anything. And Krista, we will meet again with Krista McClanders from AppsBuilder. By the way, tomorrow morning I think you have a session.
Right. That's right.
What is the session about?
We'll be discussing, why your business should be mobile and sort of, the steps to consider in getting your mobile presence launched.
Fantastic, fantastic. And just after you will have, oh my gosh, tomorrow we have the global marketing SMB manager EMEA from Facebook, Orla Malone, storytelling on mobile. Then we'll have Will Reynolds in the afternoon, and Aaron Bali, the co-founder of Udemy. So tomorrow another big day, a lot of content, and will be interesting to be with you. Once again, thanks, guys, for watching us, and Sylvain, good luck for anything. Krista, see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye, guys.